Dear students, this is lecture number 6 in supply chain management. First, we will discuss the questions asked in the last lecture. First question is, name the two process views of supply chain. The answer is cycle view and push and pull view. What is meant by replenishment in supply chain? So it is nothing but supply of finished goods to the retailers well in advance, so that whenever the customer is requesting for the product, it is readily available. If the demand for a product is dashed, then push type strategy is applied. The answer is the demand for a product is very high, then only we can go for a push type strategy. Now we move on to the topic of this lecture, competitive supply chain strategies. In any manufacturing industry or in any business, certainly there will be competition. That is, for the same product, there are many manufacturers, and every company wants to increase their business by having more and more customers. That too, after globalization, even competition or competitor may be from foreign countries also. In this scenario, every company wants to maximize their profit by increasing the number of customers. In business terminology, it is called as market share of a particular company. So the aim of the company is to increase the market share in the particular product. A company's competitive strategy defines, relative to its competitors, the set of customer needs that it seeks to satisfy through its products and services. So the company competitive strategy is defined by comparing the competitors. So you just compare the competitors in terms of the customer needs and how you are able to satisfy in terms of products and services when compared to your competitors. So the strategy is based on how the customer is giving priority for the product cost or delivery time, variety, and the quality. It is based on the nature of the product. So every company will try to design a strategy how I can attract the customer in terms of cost or in terms of delivery time or variety or and quality. I'll give one example for product cost. There is a famous brand of biscuit manufacturer. They were having minimum price at 10 rupees per biscuit packet, but suddenly the another competitor entered into the business and they introduced the biscuit packet for 5 rupees. So again, that brand, famous brand manufacturer, they also started giving at the cost of 5 rupees. But nowadays, if you go to the shops, I find that biscuit packet even for 3 rupees. So this is one example, that is how you are satisfying the customer by reducing the cost of the product. Like that, you can talk about quality. When you talk about quality, you try to satisfy the customer by increasing the quality, but the cost may be higher than the ordinary product. Next, we move on to the concept of value chain. What is this value chain? The value chain shows the areas where a company may compete with the other company. companies. For example, you see the diagram service, that is the first one, which shows that a company can compete with another company or other competitors by providing better service in terms of sales, or satisfying the customer, or taking care of any uh, bugs or defects in the product, like that is called a service. Then distribution, how the product is distributed to all the places so that customer finds the product wherever he is without any difficulty. And operations, that is operations taking place in each stage. It may be in case of replenishment or manufacturing or distribution or inventory or warehousing, all these things. Then marketing and sales, how you promote your product. In that also you can show difference between the competitors. And the higher stage is new product development, which you can go on giving new products so that customer will get satisfaction because as he finds the new products with the more benefits. So the value chain shows the areas where a company may compete with another company or competitors to gain more business and more customers. Above that, you see finance, accounting, information technology, and human resources. All these team or all these people, that is finance or accounting or information technology, the human resources, or all these units, all these departments support these areas. It may be service or distribution or operations, marketing, sales, or new product development. That is through the value chain to maximize the customer value and in turn to increase the business. So that is the aim of value chain. So in the value chain, it begins with a new product development. So which creates specifications for the product. So if you want to develop a new product, you should create a specification for what type of need we are going to create this product, and what is the uh, specification in terms of uh, various factors like its purpose, design, cost, and quality, etc. Marketing and sales department generate demand by publicizing the customer priorities that the products and services will satisfy. So the marketing and sales, they will take care of how we can take this product to the customers so that customer will ask for this product in future. So the marketing also brings customer input back to new product development. So the marketing department not only takes the product to the customer, and also they get the feedback of the customer what they expect in this product, so that in future they may include that aspect in this product. Finance, accounting, information technology, and the human resource, they support and facilitate the functioning of this value chain. That's what we already discussed. So these departments will give their support so that the company can concentrate on its value chain. To execute company's competitive strategy, all these functions play a role and each must develop its own strategy. So if a company wants to have better competitive strategy, all these departments should work together for the company's strategy, but each must have its own strategy also, so that the company can excel in all these functions. Here, the strategy refers to what each process or function will try to do particularly well. So how each department takes care of the particular function in a better way. Your product development strategy specifies the portfolio of new products that a company will try to develop. So the product development strategy, what does it specify? It will try to identify a set of new products to be developed in a span of 3 or 5 years so that it can satisfy customers in various aspects. It also dictates whether the development effort will be made internally or outsourced, whether it is to be done by the company itself or it may be given to the third party. The marketing and sales strategy specifies how the market will be segmented and how the product will be positioned, priced, and promoted. The meaning of this point is the marketing department should identify what is the position of this product. That means whether you want to satisfy your part of the customers. For example, you want to develop the product for kids, for example, or you want to develop the product for teenagers, or you want to develop the product for everyone. So like that is called positioning the product in a particular business. And how you are going to give the pricing, whether you want to make it the product should be affordable for everyone or whether the product is affordable for higher level of people, like that is called pricing. And what is a promotion strategy we are going to have it for the particular product. A supply chain strategy determines the nature of procurement of raw materials. Is how you are going to get the raw materials. Then these raw materials should be transported to the place where the manufacturing is to take place. Then after that the manufacturing will be done. After the manufacturing, the product should be distributed to the retailer, then retailer to the customer, and also we should take care of follow-up service, whether the customer is satisfied or is there any problem in distribution, like that, and a specification of whether this processor will be performed in-house or outsourced. So everywhere we are talking about whether the function is going to be in-house or outsourced. That is also be decided for every function, because there are some functions will be done better in-house and there are some functions which will be better when you give it for third party. The next topic is achieving strategic fit. What do you mean by strategic fit? A company wants to have a better competitive strategy so that it can compete with its competitors. But next question what we have to ask, if a company develops a new strategy, whether that new strategy can be accommodated or is it fit into our existing nature of the company? That is a question we should ask. That is what strategic fit requires. Both the competitive and supply chain strategy of a company have aligned goals. If it is totally different from what we already do in the business, then we have to rethink how we can adjust the strategy. It refers to consistency between the customer priorities that the competitive strategy hopes to satisfy and the supply chain capabilities that the supply chain strategy aims to build. So what is the capability of our supply chain? Then we should compare how the new strategy will fit into our company compared to our capacity. For a company to achieve strategic fit, it must accomplish the following. The first point is the competitive strategy and all functional strategies must fit together to form a coordinated overall strategy. That means the competitive strategy must fit into the overall strategy of the company, and each functional strategy must support other functional strategies and help a firm reach its competitive strategy goal. So every functional strategy should support for the other functional strategies. Then only all the functions can work together to achieve the competitive strategy. Second point, the different functions in a company must appropriately structure the processes and resources to be able to execute the strategies successfully. If you want to execute the strategies, we need resources. So that the resources has to be allocated in such a way that all these functional strategies should go on without any delay or obstacles, and also the processes has to be framed accordingly. Third point, the design of overall supply chain. The role of each stage must be aligned to support the supply chain strategy. Three basic steps in achieving strategic fit. So the first point is understanding the customer and the supply chain uncertainty. First, a company should understand what is a customer need for each targeted segment, and also the uncertainty arises due to various reasons in the supply chain. So these factors will help the company decide the desired cost and various requirements in the service. The supply chain uncertainty helps the company to identify the unpredictability of demand, disruption, or delay that may happen in the supply chain so that the company can prepare itself to face the uncertainty. The second point is understanding the supply chain capabilities. So, supply chain has to do various tasks as part of the process. So, the company should understand what is its supply chain and what it can do as per its design. So accordingly, we have to see the strategic fit for the competitive strategy. The next one, achieving strategic fit. So if you find a mismatch between what the supply chain exists now and compared to the desired customer needs, the company has to modify the supply chain so that the competitive strategy or the new strategy will help the company to grow. Understanding the customer and supply chain uncertainty. To understand the customer, the company must identify the needs of the customer segment being served for. So you should see that what is the customer segment we are going to address and what is their needs. So after that only we can proceed in a better supply chain system. Customer demand from different segments varies along several attributes as follows. So the first point is the quantity of the product needed in each lot. So what is the quantity level of the product required in each lot, and the response time that customers are willing to tolerate. So what is the response time so that the customers can wait for the particular product. Suppose if the response time is longer, there may be a chance that customer move from one product to another product. And variety of products needed. So what are the varieties of the product given by the particular company, and what is the expectation of the customer? If the customer expects more varieties, then all your demand may be reduced. Step 1, understanding the customer and supply chain uncertainty. To understand the customer, a company must identify the needs of the customer segment being served. So first, to understand the customer, the company should identify what is the need of the customer so that we can plan for supply chain uncertainty also. The customer demand from different segments varies along several attributes as follows. The first one is the quantity of the product needed in each lot. That is how much quantity is required at a particular lot. For example, it may be in terms of 100 or 1000 or whatever it is. What is the quantity required in each lot? That makes a difference in the customer demand. And the second question is the response time that customers are willing to tolerate. So if the response time is more, there is a chance that the customers may move from one product to another product or one company to another company. So we have to see that what is the maximum time the customers can tolerate. Third one, the variety of products needed. So what are the variety of product records in a particular product by the customer? So if there are more variety of the products, then there will be a impact on the demand. The next one is service level record. What is the level of the service expected by the customer? If the service level is very high, then the company should be prepared to satisfy the customer. So based on the nature of the product and the customer segment. Next one, the price of the product. So what is the price of the product? So we have to satisfy the customers based on the targeted segment. If the customer is ready to pay the price at any level, then the company can plan accordingly. For example, if you take some emergency products where the price will not play a role because any customer will be ready to pay for that. For example, medical products, medicines like that. The next one is desired rate of innovation in the product. So what is the innovation expected by the customers? Because customers expect new things, new facilities, new features should be added to the product. They expect from the company. So the company should be ready to provide the innovations periodically or frequently to the products. Next, demand uncertainty. Demand uncertainty reflects the uncertainty of customer demand for a product. What do you mean by uncertainty here? So the demand level is not fixed. Sometimes you find demand at low level. Sometimes you find a very high demand for the product. So the fluctuation happens in the demand. That is what we call it as demand uncertainty. And what is implied demand uncertainty is the resulting uncertainty for only the portion of the demand that the supply chain plans to satisfy based on the attributes the customer desires. So what is the difference between demand uncertainty and implied demand uncertainty is in case of implied demand uncertainty, it happens only for the portion of the demand based on the customer desires, what he expects in the particular attribute. It may be in terms of response time or cost or quality of service. So we have seen a lot of attributes in the last slide. So based on that, the portion of the demand may vary time to time. That is called implied demand uncertainty. Let us see the impact of customer needs on implied demand uncertainty. On the left side of the table, we see the customer need. On the right side of the table, we see the causes implied demand uncertainty too. The first point is range of quantity required increases. So when you find a sudden spike increase in the range of quantity required, for example in terms of thousands or lakhs, there may be a demand uncertainty increase because the range of quantity increases means it may not be consistent forever. So there will be a variance in the demand. The next point is lead time decreases. What is meant by lead time? Lead time means time between the customer order initiation until the product delivered to the customer. So when you have the lesser lead time, there may be a demand uncertainty increase because the customer may move to the another brand or another company because they don't wait for longer time. Third point, variety of products required increases. As you have more variety of products, there may be a change in the demand because now the demand is spread over on all variety of products. So the demand variance uncertainty will increase. Number of channels through which product may be acquired increases. The number of channel increases means there will be a demand uncertainty increase because now the product is disaggregated over more channels. That is, now the product is divided into more and more channels. So there will be a demand uncertainty increase. Next point is rate of innovation increases. As and when you introduce new features and new facilities in products, the demand uncertainty will increase because new products will take time to reach the consumers. Then only you can have more demand for the consumers. So for the new products, there will be a demand uncertainty. The next one is required service level increases. When the service level increases, so there will be a demand uncertainty increase because firm will find different kinds of demands. Sometimes you find higher demands, sometimes you find lower demands like that. Next, step 2, understanding the supply chain capabilities. After understanding the uncertainty, that is what the first step that the company faces, the next question is, how does the firm best meet demand in that uncertain environment? So the step 1, we have analyzed the uncertainty for the particular product. So after understanding that, then we should see that how best we can meet the demand uncertainty. So creating strategic fit is all about creating a supply chain strategy. So we should find a better strategic fit which is suitable for the particular company in the supply chain strategy so that it can meet the demand a company has targeted given the particular uncertainty in the product. Supply chain responsiveness includes a supply chain ability to do the following. So how the supply chain should respond to a different kinds of demands. So for example, the first point is respond to wide ranges of quantities demanded. So our supply chain should be able to respond to different kinds of ranges of quantities required by the customers. The next one is meet short lead times. So we have already seen what you mean by lead time. It is the time between customer order initiation until the product is delivered to the customer. So when you have even lesser lead times, the company supply chain should be able to meet the particular short lead time so that satisfied with the delivery of the product. In turn, it increases the customer value. The next point is handle a large variety of products. When you have large variety of products, the demand for each product vary and demand for each product vary again from location to location. So the supply chain system should be able to handle all these differences in the demand for the different products in different locations. Next point is build highly innovative products. So when your supply chain system or manufacturing plant is able to produce highly innovative products, then the total supply chain system will work better and the profit of the company will also increase. Next point is meet a high service level. So always the company should aim to increase the service level in the total process of the supply chain system, starting from the customer, then retailer, distributor, manufacturer until the supplier, that is who supplies the raw materials. So if you have the better service level, certainly demand from the customer will also increase accordingly. The next point is handle supply uncertainty. The supply chain system should be able to face the supply uncertainty which may happen due to various external factors. Step 3, achieving strategic fit. The next step is how to achieve the strategic fit. So after mapping the level of implied uncertainty and understanding the supply chain position and the responsiveness spectrum. So the first step we understood the uncertainty. The step 2 we understood and accordingly we have designed the supply chain responsiveness system. The third and final step is to ensure that the degree of supply chain responsiveness is consistent with the implied uncertainty. The goal is to target high responsiveness for a supply chain facing high implied uncertainty, and efficiency for a supply chain facing low implied uncertainty. So our supply chain system should have very high responsiveness when you face high implied uncertainty, and we have to effectively handle the low implied uncertainty also. So what is a key point here? The final step in achieving strategic fit is to match supply chain responsiveness with the implied uncertainty from demand and supply. So what we have to do, we should find the various factors which causes the implied uncertainty for the particular product. Then we have to match with how our supply chain responsiveness system handle or it is able to provide remedial process or activities for the particular factor. So in total, we are able to face the implied uncertainty. The supply chain design and all functional strategies within the firm must also support the supply chain's level of responsiveness. So the total design of supply chain and also the strategies followed in different functional areas. It may be in case of finance, or in case of human resources or information technology, or it may be in service or sales or marketing or distribution. So all the strategies should support the supply chain's level of responsiveness. So if you see the comparison of efficient and responsive cycle chains. So the first point is primary goal. The primary goal of efficient supply chain is supply demand at the lowest cost. So here we consider or we focus on the lowest cost. But in case of responsive supply chains, our ultimate aim is we have to respond quickly to the demand. The second point is product design. So what is the purpose of product design in efficient supply chain is maximize performance at a minimum product cost. But in case of a responsive supply chain, we want to create modularity to allow postponement of product differentiation. When you have modular approach, there is a possibility of going for improvement at different stages of the product. That is why we go for modularity so that we can differentiate our product. Third point is pricing strategy. So in case of efficient supply chain, we are going for lower margins because cost is the prime customer driver. But in case of responsive supply chain, higher margin because cost is not a prime factor. Here cost doesn't matter in case of responsive supply chains. The next point is manufacturing strategy. In case of efficient supply chain, we aim at a lower cost through high utilization. But in case of responsive supply chain, because we want to respond for different kinds of demands, so you have to maintain capacity flexibility to buffer against the demand and the supply uncertainty. The next point is inventory strategy. In case of efficient supply chain, minimize inventory to lower cost. But in case of responsive supply chain, we maintain buffer inventory. That means always you have the items in stock so that you can deal with the demand or supply uncertainty very easily. The next point is lead time strategy. So we want to reduce the lead time, but not at the expense of cost in case of efficient supply chain. But in case of responsive supply chain, we focus on reducing the lead time, even at the cost. We don't bother about the cost, but we want to reduce the lead time. So the next point is supplier strategy. So in efficient supply chain, we want to select based on cost and quality. But in case of responsive supply chain, of course, we have to concentrate on quality, but we don't bother about cost. But we add another two factors, that is speed, flexibility, and reliability, because we want to build a highly responsive supply chain. Students, answer for these questions.